G'day everyone, Jaimunji here, and I'm with my good pal Drew today, and we are discussing what everyone else is discussing, and that is Knotfest 2025 in Australia, of course, if you couldn't tell by the accent by now. But it's a bit of the talk of the town at the moment, isn't it, Drew?
It really is. Like, I honestly didn't expect dates to be announced this early because traditionally they've always announced them kind of around the Good Things time. But here we are, we're like still 6 to 8 weeks out from Good Things. We got the dates, and then they've announced that there is a lineup drop in 2 days as well. We're
Yeah.
getting the lineup this early, and then the dates are earlier as well. And then there's a week between as well. Like, what is going on with Knotfest this year?
Yeah, no, it's bizarre. When they kind of posted the thing about, oh, here's the dates, I'm like, oh, right, middle of November, I reckon we're getting the lineup. They're like, nah, screw you, you're getting it on Wednesday.
Mm.
Getting it Wednesday. So it's got everyone excited. Everyone has been sharing the little band competition of shit to me, like, going, oh, these are the five bands I think are
Yeah.
going to play. And it got me thinking, I was like, shit, who really can play this thing besides Slipknot? Now, we made that mistake last year when we did this prediction video saying, oh, yeah,
Yes.
Slipknot are going to play, and they didn't. I got Pantera and Lamb of God right, so I didn't have to eat my hat. I said I would actually eat my hat on camera if Lamb of God and Pantera didn't play. So,
Yes, that is correct. And you didn't have to eat your hat because that would have been very difficult for you.
well, I think we got every other bloody band wrong, though. I don't know how we screwed
We
it up.
we made some terrible predictions, I think. We don't have the best track record with that sort of stuff, but we do know for a fact Slipknot are playing next year. 25th anniversary, I believe.
Yes, of
So it's
self-titled album. Yep.
of the self-titled. So it's going to be big. It's going to be a massive production show. And it feels like that they're going all out this year. And I expect them to go all out on the lineup as well. They want to make this thing hit hard.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where I instantly feel it's going to be a sellout show because, like you mentioned before, there is a gap. Now, I found out why that gap is. Mardi Gras is
Okay.
out on Sydney on the 1st of March, so they really couldn't put Knotfest there. But in saying that, they would have to know that they could run a bunch of side shows during that week
Hmm.
off to make up for the fact that they've got to keep the bands here for a week. Like, that's great for the
Yeah.
bands. They can actually have a holiday in Australia for a bit, but they need to make
Yes.
sure the lineup is good enough that people will go to sideshow. So it's going to be colossal. Like, we were actually on the media team. We got to go see the Slipknot Museum before Knotfest opened this year.
Hmm.
And one of the girls who represents Slipknot, American woman, she actually said, I know some of the lineup, and you guys are not going to believe how big it is. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
like, how big are we talking? And
We got that little teaser
yeah,
there this year, and I'm super keen for it. Knotfest to me is the heavy festival of heavy festivals that we get here in Australia.
yeah.
So I'm I'm keen as.
Well, let's start. Now, we're going to start with the who's going to be number two and number three, or do we want to build up to it a bit? I reckon we start a bit smaller, get some of these smaller bands
Yeah,
that have got to fill out the bill, and because I am a bit torn on who's going to be two and three. Like, I was good.
same.
Yeah, I was good with Lamb of God last year. I knew Lamb of God was going to be number three. I just didn't expect Disturb. So I don't know. Like,
Hmm.
okay, what's on your cards at the moment? Well, who are you thinking are going to be like on that lower card of the bill?
I feel like we have to get the Aussie bands in.
Mm.
There are always a couple of the Aussie bands that are sort of closer to the card. Like we had Wind Waker, who were absolutely fantastic, and we need something similar to sort of fill that gap. And one that I think is they've been around for quite a while. They've toured with quite a lot of different people, but they are releasing a new album very soon. Is Ocean Grove. Now, Ocean
Mm.
Grove, correct me if I'm wrong, were on Good
Good
Things
things.
2 years ago. And
Yes.
they recently did a show with Polaris, and they're actually doing some of their own shows here now. But because they are an Aussie band, they have the luxury of being able to pump out as many shows because they don't have the travel fees that other bands do. So, given that they've got a new album coming out, I can genuinely see Ocean Grove being sort of in that undercard first couple of bands slot.
I don't know why I didn't even think about that. The second you open your mouth, I was like, yeah, with the new album out, and like you said, they played good things, but they played good things. I think when Corey Taylor was playing a good things on a smaller stage, and this kind
Yeah,
of gives them the opportunity to really be out there because it's a no clash festival. It's just two bands going
yeah,
all day like that, so you really get some exposure doing that. And I think Ocean Grove's a really good one. I was going to throw out an Aussie band, but a bit of a bigger one. It's a band that has played good things as well. Same year as Ocean Grove actually, and they've got a new album coming out the 8th of November. Make them suffer. I think it's
yes.
their turn to jump on Knotfest.
I feel like Make Them Suffer fit a bill like Knotfest, like absolutely amazingly. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them on. After Make Them Suffer got the big sort of support slot alongside Sleep Token and Bring Me this
Mm.
year here in Australia. And with the fact that they're releasing a new album, I could actually see them being a bit higher built on the card, like not the first one to two bands, but maybe like four or five bands deep, getting
Yeah.
sort of later into the afternoon. They could put on an amazing show. And I've seen Make Them Suffer. I want to see them again. I know
Yeah.
you've seen them a couple times. They're amazing live. They're great guys as well. We got a chance to interview them at Good Things not long
Yeah.
ago. So any chance we can get to see those guys and hang out with those guys is absolutely fantastic. So I would love to see them.
Oh yeah, like it would just make this little metalhead's heart beat if Make Them Suffer get announced for Knotfest, and that kind of ties it in. And there'll probably be a band I haven't discovered yet that will play Knotfest, and that was the beauty. I didn't know who Wind Waker were. I love Wind Waker
Same.
now. I didn't know who Speed were. Speed are an amazing hardcore band. So there's a lot of bands that could come because like, you could chuck out a Polaris there, but and Polaris could play. Don't get me wrong, Polaris could play, but I think it
Yep.
might be Make Them Suffer. Ocean Grove, like you said, maybe someone I haven't discovered yet. Some people have been throwing around Red Hook as a bit of a softer act. They've got a
I
lot of
have
energy.
seen
Yeah,
I have seen some love for Red Hook, and they've got sort of that poppier side to them as well. So even though Knotfest is a heavy festival, they do like to have sort of some of the more hyper pop, I guess, kind of like
yeah,
you did have with Wind Waker. I could definitely see Red Hook being a good number one or number two band on the show as well.
definitely.
There's quite a few Aussie acts that could fit the bill, to be honest, but I think those three are definitely ones that I think one of those three will be on. Otherwise, I don't have a hat to eat, but I'll eat yours.
Oh, God damn it. One of them better be on it then. No, I think you're right. And I think we're spoiled for choice. Australia's really blown up in the last couple of years. So we do, like, you got Alpha Wolf, they're playing good things. Like, there's so many. But Void of Vision played the first Knotfest down here. There's a lot of awesome Australian metal bands that can jump on this thing. But let's move away from the Aussies now. We've talked about the Aussies. Let's move on. So every year, they've had one or two deathcore bands or at
Yes.
least close to a deathcore band. Melodic death if they haven't had deathcore. It's funny because last year or this year they had two deathcore bands in Brand of Sacrifice and Thy Art Is Murder. And then
Yep.
the year before they had Mellow Death with Amon Amarth and In Flames. So I still
Yep.
think we're going to get that more subgenre of metal. But deathcore's blown up so much since
It
Will
has.
Ramos and Alex Terrible came on the scene. And no, Lorna Shore is not playing. I've seen people say Lorna Shore. They're here in February, but they've got to go home, guys. They can't keep them here until March. So
We've got a bunch that we can rule out actually, because Lorna Shore are playing in February. We've got Brand of Sacrifice and Thy Art Is Murder on the same bill coming up very soon.
yep.
I highly doubt that we're going to see them. So then that leaves a whole bunch of other deathcore bands. Paleface Swiss were here recently, so they're probably not going to be on the bill. I've seen a lot of love for Chelsea Grin being one of the potential options, and I would absolutely love that. But I have two picks that I want to see more than anything else, and that is either Fit for an Autopsy or Whitechapel. Both of
Oh,
them have new albums coming out soon. Both of them have been releasing some absolutely amazing new music. Daddy is Home with Phil Bozeman coming back with the Whitechapel, like Viscerorach, which is a fantastic song. And it's been a minute since they've been here as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
I think they were last here, not this year, but last year with Thy Art Is Murder on a show.
On my birthday,
So
and I couldn't go because it was sold out, and none of you were selling tickets on Tixel, so I missed out. I missed out. And that's Chelsea.
like,
Chelsea Grim were on that show too. It
yeah,
was a show of shows, man. Like
it,
oh, like it is one of the. I would love to see both. I don't think we'd get both. I think we'd get one or the other.
I don't think we'd get both, but I think I would love to see one of those two. I don't know if we're going to get one of those two. I think another two potential options are Shadow of Intent. It's been a long while since
Yes.
Shadow of Intent have played Australia, so they're definitely overdue for a slot here. And Born of Osiris, a bit more on the death metal sort of side of things, but I could see Born of Osiris playing festival. But my heart wants it to be Whitechapel or Fit for an Autopsy. But I think those are sort of the options. But I'm actually leaning mostly towards it's going to be Chelsea Grin.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right, and I wouldn't be angry with it too. And it does feel
No,
that spot, deathcore spot, and I don't think we're going to get two. I think the reason we got two this year is because Thy Art was a part of it. But
yeah,
I do think we're going to get a mellow death band. Now, this is a bit of a heavier of the mellow death bands, and they're long overdue to Australia. I think they'll be on a bit earlier in the day. They
yeah,
are blowing up. They've changed record labels. They're doing a lot of touring, and they've been
I
doing
know
a
who
lot
you're
of
going with.
Knotfest. Orbit
Yeah.
Culture. I think it's time for Orbit Culture to finally make the Australian debut, and I think they've purposely been waiting because in America they toured with Fear Factory and Machine Head, yet they didn't come down here with them. They did all the other shows, they just didn't come down here.
Yeah.
And in my heart, I was like, they must be being saved for the Knotfest. I truly, truly believe Orbit Culture is going to be on this thing.
I 100% think that is the case. I think Orbit Culture are one of the bands that are probably a shoo-in, and I know that you're absolutely loving that because you're a massive fan of Orbit Culture. I mean,
Yeah.
who isn't?
Yeah.
So I could definitely see them being a band on the bill.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of bands on the bill, we've got Orbit Culture, one of the bands that haven't sort of been here before and just are new in the upcomers. They always have on Knotfest one of the old timers as well, one of the
They
legends of
do.
the game.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the legend that's coming? Because I have a prediction.
Oh, that's interesting because I've actually been struggling on this one. I've heard people say Anthrax, but I don't know. I don't think Anthrax are going to come down just yet. I can see the Anthrax because they want to wait till the new album's out before touring, and I don't think that's
Yep.
got a release date yet. So maybe good things. I do think when Anthrax eventually come back, it will be a festival appearance.
Yep.
But it could even be Froth and Fury in Adelaide. Like I could see
Yeah.
that for Anthrax. Honestly, part of me was thinking Cannibal Corpse for a little while. I was like, truly, they've had two albums since they were last year and they haven't toured for them. They are overdue. Now, they normally don't do festivals down here. So, I don't think Cannibal Corpse normally do a lot of festivals anyway. They're very much club show band,
Yep.
great live band. So, I'm not ruling them out. I just don't think it's going to happen either. But I'm a bit lost. Well, like, who do you think? Because I am actually lost with the old school band.
I initially thought maybe somebody like Soilwork could go. But then I revised my pick to somebody who hasn't been out here in a long time, and I want to see him. Testament.
Ah,
I
yes.
think it is time for Testament to come back to Australia, and Knotfest, I think, is the perfect thing. They fill a slot that I feel like is, like you said, the hard slot to fill this year.
Yeah.
They haven't been here in a while. I just think it is time for Testament. Testament are a very well loved band by a lot of people. They're
Yeah.
going to bring in a very specific crowd of people as well, the people that love the thrashy stuff, which you need on a
Yeah.
Knotfest. I think they're going to fit that bill, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty solid that we're going to get Testament.
And they were meant to come down for Download Festival in 2020 before it got
Hmm.
canned, and they're one of the only bands on that bill who hasn't come.
Yep.
Like Deftones come, My Chemical Romance has come, Ailstorm's
Yep.
come, The Who have come, but they haven't.
Everybody's filled it. They haven't. I reckon it is time.
Yeah,
I I I'm a strong believer that Testament are coming this year.
nah, that's a good one, and that's a good one. Geez, we're filling up this bill because it's not like a good things lineup. You get your 14 bands of this, maybe 13, maybe 12, but we're getting towards the bands that are going to be in the top five billing. I think at this point, I think Testament would be up there, but not quite that high. But this is where I'm getting stuck. Now, a lot of people are suggesting bands, and I thought about it. I thought, okay, you've got this festival. This is a band that if they come down could play the Horden Pavilion. Needs to be in number two, right? So we've got to kind of build up from there. I heard a rumor going around, even though they were here in March, I heard a rumor going around that Machine Head could possibly be on the bill. And,
Interesting.
yeah, and they're doing some, like they're doing Vaca next year, so they're doing some festivals instead of doing these shows. And they came down to two sold out shows at the Enmore Theatre, so nothing to put your nose up about. That's a big space.
Mm.
Fear Factory are already back down here for the Froth and Fury Festival.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it's their only show. So Machine Head coming down to be slot number three, I think is quite doable.
I actually think that's really doable as well. I would love. I haven't seen Machine Head live. I know you have before, and they're fantastic. 5 times.
Yeah, five
Okay,
times.
okay, Booker T. I'm super keen to see Machine Head if they come down. I have a slightly different prediction,
Mm.
and it's a band we have seen relatively recently, not this year, but like in years prior, and a band that blew me away live, and a band that got some surprising coverage at the Olympics as well.
Ah,
I could see Gojira coming back and really just having another dominating performance, and a performance where they have good sound, good things. In the past, has had some sound issues on some certain stages, but Knotfest has not had that. The
yeah.
tighter two-stage setup I just want to see Gojira in all their glory. And the fact that they've got time to go and do sideshows and they could sell out something like the Enmore or even the Horden
Yeah.
and do a bunch of shows around, it'll make it worth their while. And after the exposure from the Olympics as well, I just want to see them back down here.
Yeah, and look, my brother is going to love that you said that because every time a festival gets announced, he's like, Gojira are coming. I was like, Gojira can't come every time, Josh. Like, you're going to be. Yeah, he can only be wrong so many times in a row, though. And you're right. Look, with Gojira, and you could have Slipknot, Gojira, Machine Head. That would be an
Yep.
awesome three hitter. There are a couple of
Shut up,
other,
take my money.
yeah, there are a couple of other bands, and I could swap out Machine Head for one of these. I think you could be right with Gojira being number two. The only other bands I've had in my head that could hit that number two slot that are big at the moment or kind of legendary is Till Lindemann of Rammstein.
Oh,
Yeah, he's been doing some Knotfest. Now, I know they don't like flying, so the idea of them getting on a plane all the way out to Australia is probably why we haven't seen them since 2010.
yep. Yep.
Rammstein's definitely not coming. Like, that boat's sailed. And I don't think System of a Down's coming. System of a Down are coming. They're headlining their own festival. It could be the next
Yep.
year's Knotfest, like,
Yep.
realistically. But they are
I
headlining.
agree.
Yeah. So it makes me think, yeah, a Gojira. Even I could be right. Till Lindemann, it could go Slipknot, Gojira, Till Lindemann. That could happen. Another band that is overdue that kind of blew up, if you love them or hate them, is Falling in Reverse.
Interesting.
Yeah. They don't have anything booked at that time yet. I know they will come down here because they do tour down here. Um, Whether they do their own show or not, because I think if they wanted to come down here, they could easily do a Horden Pavilion, or with good enough support, they could even pull off a Kudos Bank Arena. We're talking Sydney venues. We're Sydney boys. I think it could happen, but being in the top three billing of a Knotfest is a very good way of coming back down. Because last time they were here was Good Things 2019 or 18, one of the first Good Things, and they were pretty low on that poster.
But they have blown up
yeah,
massively since then. I I definitely thought Falling in Reverse originally because I know Ronnie did sort of tease that he was coming to Australia, and maybe that was an early tease of like, hey, we're coming to Knotfest, but obviously too early to announce. But correct me if I'm wrong, but there was some controversy last year because Escape the Fate, Ronnie's old band, played. I believe Falling in Reverse was originally supposed to play Knotfest last year,
they
but then
were.
pulled out and then Escape the Fate replaced.
The good thing is, though, he actually is still friends with those guys. He understands why they kicked him out
Okay,
of the band. Yeah, no, that's the thing that
cool.
I thought there was a bit of hatred there, but apparently he's still friends with him. He just decided to make his own band because they had to continue on with him being in jail. So
Yeah,
that's why that happened. And jail
but
hasn't stopped him from touring either, so that's fine.
that is true. But I'm just wondering if because they were sort of taken off the off the bill at Knotfest last year, if that kind of soured the relationship potentially with Knotfest, like the organizers of Knotfest. And honestly, I feel like, as you said, they could come and headline their own show.
Yeah.
So I could see them getting second billing potentially. But I don't think that is going to be the case. What I think is going to be the case is another band that's overdue for a tour and really gets more of the less metally and more casual sort of fan into the crowd. Avenged Sevenfold.
I didn't think about Avenged at all until my brother mentioned it earlier because I thought Avenged were going to play good things. I thought it was going to be
Same,
Corn or it was going to be Avenged. So, an Avenged
same.
coming down, they haven't been here since 2014. I think it's been a long time. Like
It has been a very long time.
they've had like 3 albums out since they've last been here,
Yep,
and there's no reason for it. When they come down here, they did the Sydney Entertainment Centre was still standing. That's what they played.
yep, yep.
That building's been gone for a while now.
A long while now.
Yeah, I saw Lincoln Park there. Like that takes me back. But Avenged Sevenfold would be a huge one, and you're right. That pulls in a lot of cash because they did all those Call of Duty
Yep,
songs back in the day, so they're very well
yep.
known. I think they've got their own Fortnite skin. I don't know. I don't play it, but they're big. They're a
Probably do.
crossover bands, like Slipknot are to an extent. And like if you see well, I wouldn't say a metalhead, but if you see a guy who likes metal. There are those guys that are like, yeah, I like Slipknot, Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold, Five Finger Death Punch, because it feels that it's heavy, but it's a lot more commercial at the same time. And I'm not
It's
saying they're
heavy, but it
commercial
doesn't have
bands.
the rah-rahs and the blah blahs.
Yeah, except Slipknot. But
Except Slipknot.
Slipknot came in at an interesting time where early 2000s metal was still in a new phase. Like people liked it because it was edgy, and Slipknot came in with the gimmick and just went, everyone was like, "Oh my god!" So like Slipknot,
Yeah,
right place, right time for sure, and the music's great. So,
100%.
but you're right. I think that's a real possibility. We didn't mention a hardcore band. I'm only going to throw this in there quickly because I know we're running out of time. But I think Hatebreed. I think Hatebreed are long overdue.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Hatebreed would be another one of ththose ones that I think, yeah, you definitely do need hardcore
yeah.
on the bill. We've had people like Malevolence before, Speed,
Knock Loose.
Hatebreed, Knock Loose as well. I wouldn't hate seeing Knock Loose coming back down either.
Yeah.
That would be great. I do have one other sort of oddball prediction to throw out. Another person that's been kind of blowing up recently that I feel like would fit the Knotfest vibe a lot. Poppy.
I was about to say that. The more I talked, the more I was like, they could chuck Poppy on there, man. And I wouldn't be against it. I don't think a lot of people would. And it's good to have more women represented on the card as
Yeah.
well. Because if Red Hook aren't on there, we basically haven't mentioned a band with a female yet. So how
Yeah,
bad?
because we're not getting Ginger who are touring. I highly doubt we just had Spirit Box here for the last Knotfest. I don't think Spirit Box are coming either. Um, a lot of great women-fronted bands out there, but I feel like Poppy, especially the fact that she's releasing a new album, I don't know if she could pull off a tour here by herself because she doesn't have the exposure in the country yet.
Yeah.
But Knotfest would definitely be the platform for it, and you you could even have somebody like a Baby Metal.
I was going to
Honestly,
say, like,
come on.
there could be a wild card like a Dragon Force on there as well. Break it up a little bit. They're long overdue, and they have done Knotfest in the past. Like, I've looked at some of the bands in the past that have done not. Sabaton's even done a Knotfest in the past, which
Yep,
is but that was in Europe though, so that makes sense. But
that tracks.
yeah, I think it's going to be hard to pick, and I'm interested in what you guys think are going to be on there. Like, obviously, I think I was pretty confident last year in my picks on who was going to come down. Well, besides Thy Art Is Murder and Lamb of God and Pantera,
Pantera.
we were way off. We didn't get any of those right. I think this year, and we've named just about as many bands as well. I think
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm hoping we hit the 50% mark. Realistically, it's probably going to be the 30% mark, but we've already got one. We've got Slipknot, so that's one already.
Correct. We are 1 out of 13, 14.
Yeah,
I'm pretty solid on my Gojira pick as
yeah.
well. That's like one that I'm quite solid on.
And I think we mentioned enough deathcore bands that one of those bands is going to be on this
Yeah,
list.
it feels like we named every deathcore band that isn't touring in sort of like the 12 months either side of Knotfest. So I think pretty sure we're going to get one of them.
And another man I was going to throw out there before we go, because we are running over time, and they come down here and they do well. They sell out the Metro every time they've come in recent years. And it would fit because, they were around the same time Slipknot. I think, Wisconsin Death Trip came out the same year. Is Static X. I think Static X could come down and fit the bill. And it's a bit of a nostalgia hit for people who got into Slipknot at that time,
Yeah.
because they were alongside, not as big, and definitely different now that, Wayne's passed away and they've got Zero as the front man, but they do a fantastic job, and it's a really good
Yeah.
way to, spread his memory. And they did release that album last year, this year, sorry.
Yep.
They've had an album out this year, and they haven't come down for that album yet. So Static X could. I think they might just come down by themselves because their shows are
Same.
successful and they don't really
Yep.
need it. But I wouldn't put it past it. That's probably on my lower end of random picks, like your Baby Metal as well.
Yep.
What's another random one I really quickly thought of earlier that could come down? Just escaped
Bill
me.
Murray.
Tech Nine. If Falling in Reverse came down, I thought maybe Tech Nine along with them, but I don't
That
know.
would be good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Throwing out another random pick as well, Bill Murray. If you haven't heard him, it's country core. It's brilliant. I would love to see that. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see that happen. I feel like that would be a really fun show.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people say Darko US as well, but that's only two dudes, and one of those dudes does the guitars and the drums. So unless they get a live band, I think Chelsea's Grin. If you want to see Tom Barber,
I think Chelsea Green is probably the way to go.
One more before we go. and they haven't been here for a very long time. And I don't know if it's because he can't come down here or he just hasn't come down here yet.
You're gonna say As I Lay Dying.
I am going to say As I Lay Dying. They've got a new album out very soon. It's been fired.
Yeah.
They seem to have no problems touring anywhere else in the world. So
Yeah.
I think it's fun because Tim did get out early on good behaviour.
Yeah.
And we have had people, and it wasn't dealing drugs. They're more strict about people who've gone to jail for drugs than they are for violence. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that. But yeah, As I Lay Dying are well overdue, and their new stuff they've been having come out.
Is
Oh,
fantastic.
it's unreal. So I would
Why
like that.
why are all bands releasing amazing stuff right now?
Yeah, it's like-
Why does it feel like metal is truly having a renaissance?
Yeah, it's like COVID hit, and they're like, right, yeah, let's just release banger after banger after banger. Like, I hate people, and I hate people who say there's no good new music. You just have old taste. You just grow up. Grow up.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to end a video, isn't it? Do you have any
That is.
closing thoughts, Drew?
No, the only real closing thought I have is I am looking forward to it. I am super keen to see the lineup drop. I kind of want it to be Knotfest already.
Yeah.
I love the festival atmosphere. I love being around there. I love meeting people.
Yeah.
I love everything that we get to do at these kind of festivals, and I'm looking forward to it. And just, I love seeing bands that I don't know or haven't really heard too much of, and then becoming fans of them. It happened with Wind Waker. It happened with Ginger. Always happens at whatever festival I go to. So I am just looking forward to discovering more new stuff. And honestly, if all my predictions are wrong and there's a whole bunch of other bands that come, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because then I get exposed to new music.
Yeah.
But then, if a lot of the bands I predict do come and the ones that I want to see, I'm super happy as well. So
It's a-
I'm just keen for festival season already.
It is a win-win situation. Well, by the time this video comes out, it should be like just over 24 hours before the lineup is released. So comment down below, and if someone gets a lot right, and I can tell if you edit the comments, someone gets a lot right down below, I don't know, I might reach out to you and throw you a little bit special or something, maybe a little bit of merch or something we can put together, or just something nice. Maybe I'll buy you a beer at Knotfest that you attend. We'll do something like that. You can have beer with old Jaimunji and Drew. But until then, I think that's been enough. I don't want to go into the negative thing again because I have a bad habit of doing that at the end of these prediction videos. So stay tuned. I will, when the lineup drops, put up a video that will have a 30-second clip of every single band playing, so you don't have to do the hard work. Old Jaimunji can take care of you, and he can show you the way. But thank you once again for joining me, Drew. I've got to have you on these things more often.
I love coming here. I
Yeah.
love the Jaimunji channel. I love everything you do.
Well,
And I'm looking forward to hanging out at Knotfest with you.
it's going to be awesome. If you want to see some ridiculous stuff, go check out the Nerd Flow podcast. I will link that in the comments below for a bit of a silly side of us. But until then, I've been Jaimunji, he's been Drew, and you all have a good one.